Good morning. We are live. This is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined this morning by my co-host, Mr. Darren Guy, all the way from the state of Maine. Good morning, Darren. How are you?
We're doing great, Mr. Davis. Thanks for having me.
Actually, it's afternoon in the state where you're at, huh?
Yes, sir. Half this day is over with.
Hey, we have a special guest in the house, Mr. Jason Barr. Mr. Barr, how are you?
Good morning, Mr. Davis. Good morning, Mr. White.
Good morning.
I'm doing well today.
Now, Mr. Barr, you're in California, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
What part? What county?
County of Orange, the city of Anaheim.
Oh, okay. You're just right next door to where I am.
Oh, nice.
Oh, neighbors.
Nice. Yeah.
So, what's going on with you, CPS, and the Lamoureux Justice Center building out in Orange County?
So, currently have a open CPS case there. My daughter was removed from her mother's custody for the second time. The initial removal was October 21. Sometime on or before summer of 22, my daughter was returned to mother, and she was just brought back into CPS custody on September 9th for multiple allegations on her and her husband. Sorry.
Yeah. Why haven't they released the child to you?
I don't know. I've asked them how come they haven't released my daughter to me, and they keep talking about patch testing. They want me to stay on a patch. However, I initially agreed to a patch because urinalysis testing was going well until I work at USC in Los Angeles. So I wasn't able to make the commute from Los Angeles to Orange County, which is sometimes an hour and a half or two hours long on the freeway. It could be during rush hour traffic on the 5 freeway. And so I wasn't able to test for a month on time. So I agreed to the supervisor applying.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
A patch, yeah.
I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, I'm not getting the drug vibe feel. Why are you even testing?
Oh, I'm thinking cop.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm testing. They've had me on the tests for 2 years. I even got an ankle bracelet on that I've had on for a year. Yeah, I have this ankle bracelet monitor right here that they've had on me for over a year, sir.
Who's had an ankle bracelet on you?
CPS.
What are the allegations against you?
There's allegations against me is failure to protect. And I my daughter's not in my custody, so I don't know.
Wait a minute. There's no other allegation than failure to protect?
I don't know. I have this really thick report here.
Yeah, don't show it to me.
Yeah, I have this really thick report. And
without naming a name, who's your lawyer? Private or court appointed?
Juvenile defender, court appointed. Karen Bladerground.
Oh, I see. No name, and he says the name.
Sorry.
Starting to come together now, Mr. D.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Now I know why you don't have your kid.
All right.
So listen, Jason, if the only allegation against you is failure to protect, that's it. All right. If you're telling me the exact truth and that's actuality, number one, you shouldn't be drug testing. Number two, you shouldn't be wearing an ankle bracelet.
There has to be more. Wear an ankle bracelet.
There has to be more to this story, Jason.
Well, I had a beer last year. I work as a music producer. I do audio engineering, so sometimes we have a drink late at night. It's just they haven't given me a fighting chance for my daughter since the case began.
Well, listen.
They haven't.
Stop.
Yeah.
They. Who's they?
Social services, social workers.
Illuminati. I mean, look, come on. If you're accurate, okay, in your reporting to me, and all they have is failure to protect, number one, you should have your child in your custody.
Yeah, I've had my own place of residence, and my daughter's listed on my lease.
How old is your daughter?
Bella will be 4 January 23rd.
Okay.
So
So what I would suggest is, number one, you talk to your lawyer. You don't have to write this down because it's taped. It'll be on the internet on 8 different social media platforms for the rest of your life.
all right.
Okay, so you can
Yes,
watch
sir.
this over again. Just listen. You know, I told an attorney who used to work with me this many years ago. When you're doing a trial and you're writing, taking notes, it's hard for you to listen. Not impossible, but hard. And you need to be listening more than you're writing down notes. You know, I went to see him in a trial many years ago, and I told him, don't take notes. Just listen to the judge, listen to the witnesses. And I was sitting in the back, and he didn't know that I was there. And he was feverishly taking notes. He could almost take notes in real time as people spoke. That's how good he was.
Wow.
He thought it was an asset. It really was a liability. And the judge asked a question. There was witness testimony going on, and then the judge asked him a question. He didn't respond because he was writing notes. She asked him 2 more times. He never responded. She stood up, looked at me because she knew he worked with me, and walked off the bench.
Wow.
So just listen, don't take notes. Believe it or not, your brain will remember everything. The problem is your ability to recall, right? That's
Yes,
the
sir.
problem with our brains. It records everything. Now, whether we can access that, that's a whole nother issue. So what you need is to talk to your attorney, because you should have your child. You should not be
Uh-huh.
wearing an ankle bracelet, and you should not be drug testing. Okay?
Right.
They can't just make you drug test because you're in the system. And by the way, if you've taken any of our seminars, which I hope you have on the first Saturday of every month, you would know from our expert attorney and forensic scientist, Okori Okorocha, 00, that patch tests are bullshit.
Wow. Wow.
So not only should you not be testing, but you should not be doing a patch test. They're highly unreliable. Okay? And they want to do the urinalysis. They may not know this, or you may not know this. Your attorney may not know this. If they want you to do a urinalysis and you're up in Los Angeles working, they have to arrange for the test to go up, to be tested up there.
Wow.
And there are many testing facilities in LA County that CPS uses in LA County. They just have to cross-refer the service that you need. The reason why they probably don't do it is, number one, they don't know about it. And the reason why they don't know about it is because they're going to lose money having LA test you. You get it?
Get it?
Yes.
So it sounds like you need a new attorney, either a new court-appointed attorney, or you need to go and talk to a private attorney. But I mean, and I keep saying this, and I don't want to, make you look bad, but Jason, there has to be more to this case. You say you had a failure to protect. The kid doesn't live with you. You have to drug test. You have to wear an ankle bracelet.
What is the ankle
Yes.
bracelet? CPS can do that to you?
Yeah, they do it here in California in some cases. And usually it's done to make sure that you're not around a certain place or individual. So that's why I'm thinking there must be some type of domestic violence allegation. There must be some issue of stalking. They don't just come up with the idea, here, slap on the ankle bracelet.
So if I could interject, I did have a prior history of DV with the mom, but she was the one that was arrested. So that's why the initial removal was October of 21, and the
Wait, hold
cops.
on, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Was there any allegation in this case against you for domestic violence on the mother? Yes or no? Or I don't know.
No.
Okay, well then you shouldn't have an ankle bracelet on. She should have the ankle bracelet on.
Right.
You know something, Mr. Davis? So they were urine testing me, and I came back from the studio to test that morning. The day before, I was in a closed recording session with a celebrity rapper, Nocturnal.
Yeah, don't mention the name, please.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was in a closed session anyway. So, and the next morning I went to go urine test, and so I provided them the specimen, and they said the result came back positive for alcohol. That was their reason for applying an ankle bracelet on me and giving me high frequency.
So first of all, if you don't have the child in your custody, you're allowed to drink alcohol. It's legal in California.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's whoever did that to you, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if the kid was with you and you had an alcohol problem or drug problem, okay, you can't be drinking alcohol. But if the kid's not with you, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
That's legal, right? And as far as I know, drinking alcohol is legal. Hell, in California, recreational use of marijuana is legal now.
Right.
They can't hold that against you if you don't have the kid, right? So you need a total revamp of your case. It's obvious to me something's gone awry. So the question is, what are you going to do about it?
Can I say that on live?
Can you say what?
What I'm gonna do, what I'm in preparation of doing this week. So,
As long as it's legal, don't tell me.
It's totally legal. It's totally legal.
Okay.
So I'm in preparation of securing a loan from a funding company against one of my settlements. I have several settlements that are in pending litigation. One of them is going for a settlement conference in March. So there's different companies that are interested in funding me. So I'm going to secure that funding, and I'm going to hire you this week.
Yeah, right.
Yes. So I want to hire you to save Bella and I both. I mean, she's all I have in this world, and
okay.
They did this. CPS and Lamoureux Court did this with my prior two children. I had no clue whatsoever, and it's pretty amazing that I remember seeing you back in 2021 at Lamoureux Court, and the husband and wife that were there were allegations against them, and I remember them leaving that day in tears, walking out of Lamoureux Court in tears, crying, and just being so thankful that you returned their children back to them. And it was a uphill battle. I believe it was a 2-6 hearing, and you completely turned the whole thing around for that couple. And I wish I would have knew about you and did my research. I've been following you religiously for quite some time now. And also, I know that Mr. Darren Way is also a great addition to your live show here. But I got the, from your producer, I got the request, Miss Grace, and also been in contact with Miss Cynthia. Beautiful.
Oh, okay. All
wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. And so I want to hire you, Mr. Davis.
So let me ask you something. You
Yes.
saw me in 2021 at court.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you know that I got my clients the kids back?
I asked them.
Oh, okay.
My kids were on their way to in the same court at a 2-6 hearing. They were on their way to adoption. Yeah.
Okay.
And I haven't seen them ever again. They asked for a closed adoption, and I had never seen my son or daughter.
Well, here's something that you just told me that I didn't know. Um, if you've lost children to an adoption for whatever reason, that will be used against you in any subsequent case, and is apparently being used against you now.
So could
And
that
if
be why they
that,
give such?
and here's the other sick part of this whole thing. You know that old case? If they had allegations against you for, let's say, domestic violence or drug abuse or alcohol abuse, and you lost your kids, that will be used in this case against you, no matter how many years later.
Wow.
Even if the allegations in that old case were false, you know, you'd be surprised how some of these things come back to haunt people and bite them in the ass. And at the time they're just not thinking about it, like they don't care, right? Sometimes, but they don't realize 5 years later they're going to meet the woman of their dreams or the man of their dreams and have another kid, and then boom, they're CPS. Now
Right.
they're going to try to use it against you. That doesn't mean that you lose your kid because of the prior allegations. That doesn't mean that at all. But I see a lot. What happens is a lot of attorneys don't realize that because you had a prior case and you lost kids before, that doesn't automatically mean you lose this kid. That's not what it means at all. So, you got to make sure that your attorney's keen on what the law actually is. Okay.
Okay.
All right. How did you? Is that how you first heard of me? You saw me in the courthouse?
Yes. Yes, I saw you in the courthouse, and I seen that you were really busy. You had a stack of paperwork in your hand. You were talking to your clients, and I really wanted to talk with you, and I really feel that I should have at the time, but I seen that you were busy, and I didn't want to be a distraction or bother you. But I should have asked for your card, and
Right. I was just going to say that I appreciate that. I appreciate you didn't want to, interrupt what I was doing. I do, but you should have asked for my card, or you should have, given me your number. A lot of people when I'm at court, because of these shows, come up to me and introduce themselves.
Right.
But here's the other thing: a lot of people look at me like they know me and never say a word.
Right.
Never say a word to me. And then sometimes I'm thinking of this one guy. I kept seeing him at court, on multiple occasions, weeks apart. And he kept looking at me and looking at me. Finally, I asked him, "Sir, do we know each other?" He
Right.
says, "Well, we kind of do. I've seen all your videos and I need you to represent me." And I said, "Well, why didn't you ever say anything to me?" He says, "Well, I was just too embarrassed, too shy."
You do hold that status, Mr. D. You are celebrity status.
I want to tell you something. Somebody explained this to me a long time ago. Darren, think about this. You have a CPS case. A lot of people will think, that's kind of an embarrassing kind of situation,
Yeah.
right? And they don't want to mention it to anyone. Imagine you picking up the phone, calling my office. Receptionist picks up, a strange person, and you having to tell the receptionist, "Hey, I need Vince's help on a CPS case. They took my kids away from me." I never thought about this, but that's kind of embarrassing for the caller.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of like resistant, like, I don't want to put my business out there, and shit, I got to call up, and I got to talk to a receptionist who doesn't know me. What's she going to think about me?
Yep.
So that prevents a lot of people from calling me. And I realized something over these last 37 years. If a person calls you, they've reached the limit of, they're almost at a
DEFCON 4.
DEFCON 4. Good example. Good thing. They're at DEFCON 4. when they know they should have called me at DEFCON 1, but they were too embarrassed to. You call me at DEFCON 1, there's a lot of shit I can do. You wait to DEFCON 4, the alternatives, they start shrinking. And by the way, I wanted to tell you about this embarrassing thing. This just happened yesterday. A woman who called me 2 months ago ended up not hiring me. She ended up hiring another attorney who knows dependency, but doesn't have nearly the experience I have. I think he had like 2 or 3 years. She goes to court. They lose a trial. She's pissed off because he doesn't do this witness, call this witness, introduce these documents. You get the picture. You've heard it before. So she calls me back and she says, okay, I went to court. I hired this other guy. I didn't hire you and I lost. Okay. I'm sorry. What do you want from me now? I want you to take over the case. Okay. Take over the case. She does the paperwork, hires me officially, and then I tell her this. Step 1, strategy number 1, because her kids are in foster care, unrelated foster care. She doesn't even know the foster parents. Make a list of 25 friends and relatives that could, not would, could take your child, and they can live anywhere in the world. In the world. You know what she tells me? I'm not sure I want to do that. And I said, why? She goes, because I haven't told anybody what's happened to me. I'm too embarrassed.
Yeah.
Then I have to go through the explanation of why you want to get the child with a friend or relative. And then I give her the explanation. And then she tells me, well, then here's the key. Here's what she says. Well, what are they going to think about me?
Yep.
You know what I said? I said, I don't know, but are you trying to win or are you trying to save your reputation?
Right.
Because if you lose these kids, 12 months down the road, you're going to be sick.
Yeah.
But she didn't want us. And, I've told people, and there's a drug allegation to this case. And I've told people this before, even judges. I've said, look, these people don't want to tell the world, their family and friends, that they got their kids taken away because of drugs. So when the social worker asks them, hey, who are your relatives? They're not going to give any names.
Right.
Or they're going to leave names off.
Right.
Because Uncle Bob, who didn't like you in the first place, is going to talk shit about you even more.
Bob.
Right? So the law, in my opinion, this is my humble opinion, requires that the social worker do the search for relatives. One of the things that she can do is ask you, but she should know or knows that you're not going to give up the full information. And it's not for your benefit, by the way. It's for the benefit of the kid. The kid should be with relatives or family friend.
Right.
And the social worker should be going out and finding that. Many years ago, the city and county of San Francisco lost a huge lawsuit by not seeking out relatives. Huge lawsuit. After that, for years, they hired an outside firm. And on every case, they paid the firm to research and find relatives on both sides of the family. And how'd they do that? Public record, birth certificates, things of that nature. And now with computing and the Google and everything else, Facebook, social media, it's easy, not easy, but you can find the relatives. It takes time.
Right.
And I remember going to court in San Francisco, seeing these reports and thinking, this is a great idea. You don't have to rely on the parent, the drug addict parent, or the mentally ill parent. It always gets me. They say, oh, the parent has mental illness and can't take care of the kid. Well, why are you asking them about relatives?
Right.
You're asking the wrong person. So they did that. At the beginning of this year, I did another case in San Francisco. They didn't have that report. In order to save money, I think they stopped doing the reports. And when I brought up relatives, well, Mr. Davis, your clients didn't talk about any relatives. Yeah, Judge, she's not going to say it. She's embarrassed. It's a drug case, right? And do you know that after maybe 6 months, we had to have a trial and a hearing, and the kid was actually placed with a relative?
Wow.
Took that long. But it was like, we're pulling teeth. Pulling teeth. Now, by the way, I mentioned that to you, Jason.
Correct.
25 names, friends and relatives of who could take the child in case the mother who doesn't have the child or you can't take the child. We're going to be focusing on getting the child to you, but that intervening placement with a friend or relative is so important. I've said this before. A kid in foster care and non-related foster care is like you being in jail, not on bail. When the
Right.
kid gets up with a relative, friendly relative or family friend, it's like you're out on bail now.
Yeah.
And the burden in the case, the leverage of the case shifts to you. See, as long as your kid is in a strange foster home, they got you. They got you by the throat. Okay? And you're fearful, you're frustrated, you're wondering at night what's happening to my poor little girl at the foster home. Is she being abused like these things I've been hearing about on the internet? And you're just discombobulated, and when they talk to you, you do whatever they say. It's kind of like, 1940s. Yeah, it's kind of like 1940s Europe. We got you in such fear, you're going to do whatever we say.
Right.
Right.
That's
And you're not going to think for yourself. We're going to do the thinking for you. And you know what? And we're not even going to tell you this, but we don't ever plan on giving you your child back. We're going to sell that child through adoption. We're going to make money off that child. We're going to get those adoption bonuses from the federal government. We're not going to mention that to you, but that's our plan.
That's the reality of it.
And by the way, the law now in the United States and in California is something called concurrent planning, meaning that as they plan to help reunify you, they plan to keep the child away from you permanently. So I can guarantee you, it's called concurrent planning. Google it. I can guarantee you that whoever has your kid right now has already been talked to about adopting that kid.
Yeah. At a visit just Thursday, my daughter, and she's never done this before. She's always called me daddy, been very affectionate. We have an unspoken bond. You can see immediately when my daughter and I are together. However, last Tuesday, she walked up to me. She was set down by a worker from the FFA agency, and she walked up and said, "What's your name?" I said, "What?" She said, "You're not daddy, you're Jason." And then Thursday, she was set down and she clinged to the social worker, cringing to come to me. And she walked up right to me and I said, "Hey, Pumpkin, how you doing, baby?" Got down on my knees. She walked up, she smacked me in the face and she said, "You're not daddy, you're Jason."
Oh my
And
God.
that was a 4-hour process. And the FFA director sat there and she looked at me like this. I could see her like the peripheral of my eye, just doing this.
Right. Writing it all down.
My
What I
daughter said,
learned.
"Daddy, I don't want to go home with mommy. I don't want to be with mommy." They have my
How
daughter.
old is she?
She's 3 3/4. She'll be 4 January
Okay.
23rd.
So look, let me tell you something. And this became crystal clear to me.
Grooming her. Right.
Right. This became crystal clear to me in a case in Northern California, maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago. Foster parents groom children to separate them from their parents. Social workers do the same thing, but you know what I learned? That the good foster parents take the direction or indirect direction from the social worker to do this. And it's something you could never prove. How you going to prove that with your 3-year-old daughter?
Yeah.
You think the foster parent's going to come in and say, yeah, the social worker and I have an agreement to steal your child and make sure we brainwash her against you? The fact that she said, you're not daddy, you're Jason, someone taught her that.
Yeah. Right.
She didn't think of that on her own. She's 3 years old.
I have hundreds of videos of her and I and pictures of her and I, and you would not believe how close we are. There's a lot of evidence. I can discuss that further with you, but I am just reading that the current allegations is a welfare and institutions 387 petition, which is supplemental.
Yeah.
That was for the current detention.
Okay. When is the jurisdictional and dispositional trial on that 387?
It was the 22nd. However, they were stuffed in court that day, so they set it out for November 30th.
Okay. If you're going to hire me, you better do it quick.
Yeah,
because there's a couple of important things that are going to happen. And if you don't protect your rights, you're going to be SOL.
I'm going to secure that loan this week. I'm securing what we discussed. But I'm definitely going to hire you.
And you know all those pictures and videos you have?
Yes.
Put it on a DVD, because we'll be playing that in court, because that's going to come up. FFA worker is going to say kid hates father or whatever. There's no connection.
Right.
There's no connection because back at the foster home, you've been brainwashing her.
Right.
Because the people that have her right now, I guarantee you, have been talked to about adopting your kid. It's called concurrent planning. It's legal. All right. And if they're going to say, yes, we're going to adopt, and look, you look like you're a fairly handsome guy. I bet the mother's fairly attractive. You got a pretty white little kid. Okay. That is gold in the CPS system. That's gold.
Right.
You know, I hate to say it, but we're trafficking children.
There we go, Mr. D. About time.
We're trafficking children, and you know what? And it's legal. Slavery used to be legal too.
Wow.
Until they made it illegal. And that's what part of our movement is about with Mr. Guai. We have to change these laws. And the only way we can do it is we have to get people to vote. Now, I'm going to ask you something, Mr. Jason Barr. You don't have to answer this. Just think about this. Don't answer. When's the last time you voted? Right. You don't even remember.
Yeah, it's been some time. It's been years. Yes, sir.
Right. Guess what? People are being put into office making the laws. And you're in California like me. We vote for our judges. Who's the last judge you voted for? You don't even know.
No.
Right? You don't know. Darren, you get it?
I've always gotten it, Mr. D. That's why I'm right here with you.
Okay. So that's the only way you're going to change anything. Calling me up, coming on the show, complaining to the world will get you zero. Nothing. You know how I know? Because I've been doing it for 35 years, 34 years. People have been doing it. And you know what's happened? Nothing. You know what changed? Nothing. Not only did it not change, it got worse.
Yep.
I believe that I'm sorry to interrupt real quick, but I do believe when I seen the JD at the hearing, she said, I said, what's preventing them from giving my daughter to me? She said, well, they wanted you to stay on the patch, and they're really upset that judge ordered, because at your request at the initial detention hearing September 19th, that you requested a different modality of testing. You asked to switch back to urine. So walking out of court, JD looked over, the juvenile defender looked over at the county council and said, so when could dad take the patch off? She looked at me and said, well, when was it applied? I said, last Friday. She said, well, take it off this Friday. So when I got a call from SSA worker telling me, you are not, she said, where are you right now? I said, I'm driving. She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to take the patch off. She said, I'm ordering you not to take it off right now. If you take it off, you'll be in violation of a court order and there will be consequences against your case. I said, well, your counsel told me I could take it off Friday. Today's Friday. I'm going to remove the thing. So when I spoke with juvenile defender on the hearing on the 12th, which is the second hearing, just October 12th, just recently, I said, what's the reason for them not giving my daughter back to me? She said, well, one is the patch. They want you to stay on the patch. I said, that's the only reason why they're not giving my daughter to me? I said, my daughter has her own bedroom. She's been on my lease now going on 2 years. I just signed a lease agreement. I just furnished the lease agreement for the second year from my property manager to you, and everything's in place. My daughter has everything that she needs. So you're telling me that she's not going to come home and they don't want to give her to me because they want me to stay on a flawed patch that keeps producing false positives for them. It seems highly suspicious. And the fact that the worker was so she's very aggressive over the phone in that she wants me to stay on that patch. It seems to me they're trying to steal my child, and that is clear and convincing by them wanting to stay on this patch after the judge ordered a change in modality back to urine. And by the way, I had to request the first urine test because they waited a week to test me. The judge ordered 10 on demands until the September 9th, 19th to October 12th. I only got 4 tests, and the first one I had to request. So all 4 tests have been negative. And I said, well, look at here we are, October 12th. All 4 tests have been negative. Everything's been fine. Everything's in place for my daughter to come home. Why isn't she home? She said, well, I don't know. I said, well, you need to do something about this. She said, well, I'll see you November 30th.
Okay. I am happy that you finally realized that they are trying to take your child away from you. A lot of people don't believe that.
Right.
This is America. This is our
Yeah.
government. They will never do anything like that. That's what they believe.
Yep.
Why is it like that? I don't know. We could have a show about that and talk about it for 4 or 5 hours. It doesn't
And
matter.
then some.
Doesn't matter. The only question is, what are you going to do to win? And then what are you going to do to change the system?
I've been in prayer. I've been really seeking God in this, and I really do believe that there's no other person that can bring my daughter home but you, Mr. Davis.
Well, I
I feel
appreciate that. I appreciate that confidence, but talk is cheap, right?
yes, sir.
Action. We need action.
This week, I've already spoken with two.
Well,
I'm not. I
you don't
won't.
have to. You
I
don't
won't
have
say-
to tell me. You
I
don't have
won't.
to tell me all the details.
But I'm
If
securing. I'm
you want to do something, there's 2 things you could do. I'm going to tell you right now before you hire me. 3 things. Number 1, okay, make that list of 25 names.
okay.
Name, address, telephone number, and relationship to the child, and if the child's only a friend, family friend. They can live anywhere in the world, not just Orange County, not just California, anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, I want you, because you seem like a smart guy, I want you to go on Google and Google to find articles. There's scientific articles about the patch test.
I have.
Okay, how crazy it is.
It's
It shouldn't even be used. I don't think,
Right.
and I'd have to talk.
No, I know.
I'd have to talk to Double O about this, Corey Okorocha. I don't think the patch test would even qualify to come into evidence under the Kelly Fry test in California. I don't think It's even it should be scientifically acceptable to be admitted into evidence. Yet they're using it. And you know why they're using it? Because nobody that I know of has challenged it and taken it
Yeah.
up on appeal.
Yeah,
The
I believe
patch
his
test,
words were he wouldn't use it for a parking ticket. I think is
right,
what Double O said.
right.
Wow.
Double O says, and look, Double O is a highly qualified trial lawyer, criminal and civil. He went back to school to get his master's he got 2 masters in pharmacology and testing or some, I don't know. But he's highly educated, okay? He testifies as an expert in cases all over the country about drugs and testing and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. All right? I won't say many, but several years ago, I had a private conversation with him about what they were doing in juvenile dependency courts across California. You know what he told me? He said, that can't be true.
Wow.
That's what he told me. He said, it can't be true. And I said, oh, Corey, it is true. They're doing it. So now, we've asked him, he's been a guest on the show. He's been at all 3 seminars and done presentation. Now he's kind of like, it's kind of a mission for him now to educate people. He charges money, of course, to go be an expert. It costs, money, but he wants people to be educated. So he donates, at least an hour a month to us by just giving us on the seminar and, doing the doing that question and answer thing. But I don't even think, the patch thing should even be admissible. It doesn't rise to the level of a standard that can be admissible. It's a scientific test in California. Now, I'm sure there are people that disagree with me, but look at the results. Look at what the experts are saying in articles and scientific research and papers. The reliability is just too low, because if you're wearing the patch and you enter a room where drugs have been used, you're going to test positive.
Huh.
You didn't use the drugs. I remember talking to Corey on maybe the first seminar. He talked about the environmental problems with the patch test, because it's exposed to the air.
Wow.
And here's something that he told me, and I've heard this before. If you take $100 bill out of your pocket and play with it like that, and you test the residue on your fingers, you'll test positive.
Wow.
And they will say it was because you were using.
Yeah.
Because all money, all currency is infected with illegal drugs.
Wow.
That's almost hard to believe, isn't it? It's almost hard to believe. I'm not suggesting you try it, but do some research on it.
Yeah, he should probably stay away from money for right now.
I went to SoFi Stadium not too long ago to see a football game. And, they don't accept currency there anymore. It's only the debit card or credit card. Did you know that? Even if you want to gamble on, they have a game where it's called 50-50, where you buy, the pot gets large and they split it, between themselves and the winner. You can't even buy a 50-50 ticket with cash. You have to give a card. If you buy a hot dog, it has to be, a card. Although I haven't seen hot dogs sold at SoFi. It's all a little upscale there. What was your question, Jason?
I was going to say, so looking at the minute order on page 3 at the bottom, it says, okay, this is about the testing, because I had the defender ask, can we change the methodology of testing back to urine? Because, he's no longer on campus working long hours. So as it reads, it says, as the father social service agency is authorized to draw funds from the county treasurer for random drug or alcohol testing by way of observed urine or breath specimen collection or by other means, including drug patch or secured alcohol monitoring devices. So
that's not the order you wanted. That's not the order that you think. And you asked for urine and they gave you that order. Okay, that means there's wiggle room. We can do whatever the agency wants to do.
Hey, are you in counseling?
No, but I've already completed all their case plan. I've completed their case plan at the beginning of the year. And you know something? The last worker on the case, she took almost 5 months to let her supervisor know that I completed the case plan. Even the director of the outpatient that they had me go to outpatient, she sent a phone call to the supervisor and an email. And in her letter, she stated, social worker, okay, by the name of whatever, failed to respond to numerous emails and phone calls, or acknowledging the acceptance of the completion of Mr. Barr in our program. So much time had elapsed, a little over 4 months. And I had to continuously bring this up and request CFT meetings. So they've been very lazy and really almost insubordinate when it comes to my.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I've noticed certain attitudes from county to county in California.
Right.
I have to tell you that workers in your county, there is a little bit of an air about them. And I think it has to do with the training and the top management. I want to give you a quick example. I have a colleague, I'll even say he's been a friend in the past, who is a guru at suing social services around the country. He sued your county and he won. All right. The county appealed it and they lost.
Nice.
Then they appealed it again to I think it was the Supreme Court, California. They lost. In an interview with the director or the old director or whatever, he was quoted as saying, when asked about this case, if we had to do it over, we'd do the same thing. Now
Wow.
they just lost millions of dollars because of something a social worker did, because they claimed that the social worker was protecting children. Right?
Right.
He's quoted as saying he'd do the same thing over again.
I have a
Really? Really?
Uh,
You don't get it? You don't get it? You don't get what the jury said? You don't get what the Court of Appeal says? You don't get what the Supreme Court says? To hell with you. To hell with the law.
Yeah.
We do what we think is right. That says it all.
Yep.
That says it all.
You know something? So I am aware of something called a Monell claim.
That's a federal constitutional claim.
Right. Is when a county or governmental agency has a custom or practice or a policy or some type of training that is in violative of your constitutional rights. So sometimes social workers exaggerate. In my case, they've exaggerated a lot. And the report to make sure that they win the case and are what is doing, quote unquote, what is justified for the child. So in my case, SSA worker lied in a report, and you know what she said? She lied and said in a report that visitation monitor by the name of, to which he cannot honestly remember saying, according to her, says in her report that I didn't want to make up my visits, and I had 16 hours of visitation that they haven't given to me, and it's been almost 6 months that they haven't given me those hours. And she said in her report that I didn't want to make up the time with my daughter. And that's not true. She said, that's why I surmise that there is some practice training or unwritten policy among social workers to sometimes exaggerate or even twist what you say. I said that I wanted to make up the time with my daughter. She said that I wasn't interested in making up the time, and in fact said that I don't want to make up the hours.
I mentioned this term a few shows ago, pencil whipping. Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah, for that.
You're being pencil whipped. And you know what? You haven't done a damn thing about it.
I don't know how to fight this machine alone.
All right. That's what we're going to help you with.
There we go. There it is.
Hey Jason,
Yes.
we're way past the end of the show. I want to thank you for coming on and sharing. Hope to hear from you this week.
You will hear from me this week.
All righty. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Y, and
Take care,
thank you
Jason.
for your time. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, Darren.
Well, Mr. D, you got a busy week coming up. Clear the schedule.
You know, I have a busy week in court coming up. And I don't know if I will be. Tomorrow I have a trial in San Diego. I don't know if I'll be back by 7. I hope to be. Tuesday, I'm actually up in the Sacramento area doing a trial. It's busy entire week. If I'm not able to make it in the next couple of days, I hope that you and maybe Miss G can continue on without me. Okay?
It's not the same, but we can do it, Mr. G.
All right, everyone. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be on
here.
The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'll be here if I get back from San Diego in time. All righty. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See you later.